Welcome to our Together Saturday class. And today's Saturday class is really about, especially in terms of talking about what we're going to do physically in this actual practice, holding together at the two joints of the body where a lot of movement takes place, especially in our yoga practice, the hip joint and the glenohumeral joint, the shoulder socket here. So this class is called Center Your Head. And what we're talking about is our femoral head, the top of the leg bone as it plugs into that hip socket, this acetabulum of the pelvis, and the humeral head of the arm bone coming again into this glenohumeral process, forms all these muscular connections known as the rotator cuff. And so in particular, we're really going to get ourselves prepped for moves such as side plank and things like half moon, which are challenging poses and require a lot of balance and engagement. But more than anything, maybe like to get that basis of where we want to build up from, we need to center our head, the humeral head, the femoral head. So let's get started, starting to feel some of this centering and just getting a little bit more familiar with these two joints, these four joints, so that we kind of know what we're doing as we start to get going. Come onto your back. You'll walk your feet in. They don't have to be super close. Everybody's different, so you don't need to be able to touch your heels or anything like that. Give yourself any little adjustments before we get moving. We're going to press into the feet and lift the hips off the ground. You want to squeeze your glutes here, so everything's drawing in towards that center line. As always, it's not going to be as important like how high up in your bridge you come, but it's really more important that you can feel your glutes are firing for you, so you can reach around and grab them like I am here. Just kind of dig your fingers in and make sure all those muscle fibers are starting to wake up and fire up. You don't want to go so high that it feels like the low back's taking all of the load, but instead, the low back's working here, but we have it nice and evenly distributed. So it's holding the load, but it's lengthening, the tailbone's rooting, the glutes are on. You're even pressing into the feet, maybe even trying to press your feet forward towards the top of the mat. Feel the extension of your quads and how that can help to uncork some of this area where that femoral head comes into the shoulder socket. And then from here, keep pulling the belly down, so it's going to help to secure that low back area and make it nice and spacious, but still give it the structure it needs. Take the hands up in front of you and towards the ceiling. So I'm just kind of facing my palms back towards palms in towards each other, and the thumbs are facing back towards the couch. And have you reach up with your fingers, like you're trying to reach up towards the ceiling. So it feels like your shoulder blades are sliding away from the center. There's a little shoulder blade protraction. Now bring your shoulder blades back together. You're going to feel the head of the arm bones, that humeral head, coming down to the floor. But really what we're doing is we're setting it into that shoulder socket. You won't come all the way to retraction because you get the floor in the way. Do this a couple more times. Reach the fingers up, feel the protraction, and then bring it back down into that retraction. And so we're doing a little shoulder scrub here. Notice if your ribs want to pop out on you, if the ribs are where you want to do the moving in the shoulders. Really see again if you kind of hold that cylinder of the core pretty rigid here as you just continue to move the scapula. So those are the two big bones, those triangle bones on the back ribs. And then next time you pull those arms into the shoulder socket and you try to squeeze those shoulder blades together, keep them there. You'll take your left hand up towards the ceiling. The right hand will come across those left fingers and pull back on that left hand. Now just press into the feet, lift and lower your hips a couple times. As you continue to warm up the glutes, we're going to stretch into our wrists. So you're giving a little wrist extension here. So often the wrist is in that flex position, so we're just giving a little counterbalance, preparing it to weight bear. And when we can open up that wrist, and when we can get the humeral head centered, we can really find some great support for the shoulders and some relief for the wrists, especially if you tend to feel a lot of pressure down in that wrist when you're holding things like plank and side plank. Switch the hands, but keep your pulses going. So these pulses are really, really small movement. You're going up an inch and down an inch, and it's just a little bit of fire for the glutes. I'm pressing into the soles of my feet. My toes tend to lift as I'm doing this, but I still continue to press imagine my hand is my foot. I still continue to press where those toes meet the actual like sole of the foot into the ground. So the big toe mounds are driving this movement in the leg. The glutes are really driving it. The big toe mounds are communicating with it. So we'll release the right wrist, and you can slow your pulse down. Now from here, wiggle the right foot in a little bit towards center, bring your left knee over the left hip. We're gonna get some movement going in this left hip. So again, your hip joint is where the femur bone meets the socket of the pelvis. Go ahead, you can take your fingers and you can kind of poke them into this hip joint. So just like right in that hip crease where that femur bone comes in, and then externally rotate it and internally rotate it. And so you're just kind of like almost windshield wipering your shin. You'll notice in general, the external rotation is much more than the internal rotation. So you're just teasing out a little bit of tension here. And then we'll do one more external, one more internal. Come to neutral. Take your right hand, just press it onto that left thigh. And just feel a little cross neural firing here. Activation, waking up. So we're speaking to two sides of the body, getting everything, communicating a little bit more together. We'll bring the left foot down, and the right knee will come up. So again, your fingers can kind of like poke into that acetabulum of the pelvis where the femur bone is plugging into that hip socket. So as you externally and then internally rotate that leg bone, you can kind of feel each leg's different. So you might have one that like pops and crackles a little bit more than the other. I'd recommend see if you can pull more into your core, see if you can squeeze your glutes more, try to stabilize that joint. And then notice if the crackling and the popping has gone away. All right, keep squeezing, keep pressing that left foot. So we're just kind of, again, freeing up some space, creating some heat and some movement. And then one more time internal, bring it into neutral, the left hand, press it onto that right thigh. We're almost through this, I promise. Left glute is firing, low back is long. You could be like a centimeter off the floor. That's great. I just want you feeling like this glute is gonna work for you. And again, really activate that right hip flexor by pulling that thigh into the palm. Then bring the right foot down, and with the core on, come upper, middle, lower back, all the way to the ground. Nice and segmentally here. Really good job, everybody. From here, we'll take the hands behind the head, interlace the fingers, and pull those elbows in. Take a big breath in. Exhale, pull into the core and lift the shoulder blades off the floor. So the shoulder blades are just lifting off the floor. It's not necessarily about how high up you come, but really more about pulling deeply down into the abdominals. Inhale, lower. Exhale, everything draws together. Just feel gathering together, feeling everything come in. Inhale and lower. Exhale and lift. We're going to do this thing from the bridge. Bring your left knee over the left hip and the right hand to the left thigh and press them together. So now we're kind of using the femoral head and the humeral head to activate one another across the body. Bring the left foot down, the right hand comes back, and come up. Exhale and lift. Everything draws together. Bring the right knee over the right hip and the left hand presses into that top of the right thigh. Really press it. You should be feeling like everything's pulling down lower. Then bring the right foot back, left hand comes back, inhale and lower. Now, stick with the feet on the ground or bring the knees up over top. It's just gonna kind of save you some time here. Inhale, exhale and lift. Kick the right hand to the left thigh and kick the right foot up. So spread the toes and just feel some opening, some energizing into that right leg. Still relax your head into your left hand here. So you want that neck, not doing the lifting for you. Right knee bends, right hand comes back, inhale, lower. Exhale and lift. Left hand to the right thigh, kick the left foot up. Spread the toes of the left foot. Really feel that fire up. And then bend the left knee, left hand comes back, inhale, lower. Exhale and lift, right on one more thing. Right hand to left thigh, right leg kicks up. Spread the right toes, lower your right foot just a couple of inches and scoop your tailbone and pull deep into the core. Bring the right leg back up, bend the right knee, right hand comes back, inhale and lower. Exhale and lift, last one like this. Left hand to right thigh, left foot kicks up. Spread the toes of the left foot like you could your hand. And yep, lower that left leg, scoop your tailbone, pull into the core, hold it and bring it back up, bend, hand comes back, inhale, lower, feet come down. So we're going to get a little opening by holding the femoral head. It's easy to mix them up when you're talking about them both. The femoral head, most people are probably know. The femoral head centered inside this hip socket. So wiggle your feet wide. Drop the knees off to the right. Keep pressing the inside of the left foot into the ground. Drive your left heel into the ground. Let it cue the glute to fire up here. And we want to give some space to the front of the hip. So again, that feeling of like the quad coming forward, it's like uncorking this little flexed area of the hip, that typical crescent moon position it's in. It's kind of flattening out in a good way. We want to root your tailbone towards that heel that's pressing into the ground, that left heel, so that left glute is on here, and it's borderline like the left glute would come through the hip. So this way we hold, again, that femoral head centered, we get the uncorking, but we don't push the bone into any of the soft stuff there that, might get a little bit like, hey, why are you bumping it in, buddy? Go ahead, bring it back through center, and the feet are wide, so you drop the knees to the left. The inside of the right foot's pressing into the floor, and then really cue your right heel to hit the floor. Let it turn the right glute on, root your tailbone to the right heel, maybe even take your right hand to that glute, and borderline feel like it's gonna like push through your hip. And let that open up. It's like the quad is trying to maybe like feel like the right knee is pointing towards the top part of the mat there. Our heads are back here at the bottom of the mat. One more breath. Let it breathe. So the low back is still pretty long. Most of the rotation here is coming from around the ribs. Bring it back through center. This is a fun, short little core series, I promise. We'll bring the knees over top of the hips. Hands come behind the head. Elbows come in. But listen carefully, because I'm just going to keep switching the directives up on you, just so you can get really clear again about internal, external rotation, engagement. Inhale, exhale, and lift. Externally rotate both your thighs. And then press the inside of the feet together. Then reach your arms up and almost like you're reaching through your thighs. So again, see if you can try and not really reach with the neck, but really pull deeper into the core. And then bring the hands back, the legs back, inhale and lower. So listen carefully, exhale and lift. We're gonna roll the thighs in towards each other. You're kind of like doing the Tweedledee thing with your legs. Reach the arms forward, palms are down. They don't quite touch, and we're just gonna flap our little Tweedledee wings. So a little internal, external rotation going on for the legs and just some different directives for the shoulders. We'll bring the hands back behind the head, legs back to neutral, inhale, lower. Exhale and lift. Once again, externally rotate the thighs, press those feet together. Again, reach the arms forward like you're gonna press down. So we're not in between the legs, we're outside them, flapping our wings. Press those legs together, like really pulling your core, scoop your tailbone a little bit. And then bring your hands back behind your head, bring your thighs back to neutral, inhale and lower. Exhale and lift. Roll the thighs in towards each other. Bring your hands on top of those thighs. Press them. Keep rolling in, pressing in, keep rolling in, keep pressing, keep rolling in. Externally rotate them, press them together. Hands come back behind the head. Bring the hand, knees, everything back to neutral, lower. Just lower. Bring it on down. All right, come around to your hands and knees. So you've totally earned waking up those glutes and core. Now coming on to crawling. And as always, we're gonna just sort of reset the body with this quick little developmental reset. So just like in life, we're going from our backs to crawling, to getting up on one knee, and then we're gonna get moving. So with the hands under the shoulders, the knees underneath the hips, you can set yourself up in a quadruped here. Feel the core is lifted. You wanna lift the head without lifting the chin. So don't let your neck just get all droopy on you. See if you can keep that nice long line of the body. Spread the fingers. Feel like you could dial your right hand out to the right and your left hand out to the left. They won't actually move on you, but what you hopefully will feel is this torque that's created in the arm. It's going to help center your humeral head in this shoulder socket. And then from here, really look at the space in between your hands. Keep your core lifting here. Press into the hands. Spread your shoulders. Do that protraction that we were doing in our bridge when we were reaching up to the ceiling. Now we're getting it by pushing into the hands. You're feeling that reaction force from the floor, right? And this is giving you feedback and opening in the shoulders. Let's just bring ourselves back to neutral. So we'll squeeze the shoulder blades together. You can soften the chest a little bit towards the floor, but we're not doing like a full collapse. We're going to press into the hands again, spread the shoulder blades, core is lifting up into the back fascia, feel that rounding and spreading, and then back to neutral. So you're just pulling the shoulder blades onto the back ribs, dial the hands out, let that humeral head centering guide the scapula on the back ribs. Press into the hands, spread the shoulder blades, get this feed back from the floor, bring it back down to the shoulder blade, connect back onto the rib cage. One more time, pressing the floor, feel that spreading, dial the hands out. I'm glad we did this. We bring that scapula, shoulder blade back onto the back ribs. Now take the right hand behind your skull, just 3 times here, same thing, pressing your left hand into the floor. Feel like you can dial it out, but it won't actually move. And now use that dialing out sensation to help rotate the ribs to the right. So you're taking a little twist in the upper body and pressing into the left arm and using that centered humeral head and this strong scapula to peel your chest open. Getting some opening in the chest wall. We'll just bring our chest back down, align with the floor, put it horizontal there. You'll press into the left hand for the dialing out. Full rotation, just a little opening, the costals, the ribs, bring it back down. One more time, pressing the left hand. The right hand serving as like a little coach here, it's helping you continue to lift the cervical neck flexor back into the right palm. Bring your chest back down to line with the floor. The right hand comes down, spread the fingers, left hand comes behind the skull. Feel like the right hand's going to dial out and use that energy of the right arm, feeling like it's dialing out. You're hugging your back scapula onto the back ribs. Feel like your shoulder blade pull down towards your hips here. So it gets like a little depression activation. And then bring the chest back to a line. Press into the right palm. And again, rotate the ribs open. So keep your core on here. It doesn't matter how far you come with the rotation. It's really more about staying long in the spine. And then bring it back down. One more time. Right hand presses, dials out, grabs the floor, rotate the ribs open, and then bring that chest back to realign. Left hand comes down. Come onto your forearms. We'll set our dolphin pose up here. So before we even go anywhere in dolphin, from this forearm position, I like coming down here because I think it can help you hold your pelvis a little bit more steady. I want you to relax your neck. And look at your knees here. So the most challenging thing about this maybe will be like balancing on the one knee. And if it doesn't feel good, feel free to just skip it for now or to come back up on your quadruped. But try it out with the forearms. You're going to hover your right knee. And just really small, we're going to make some little circles. The right thigh is going to come towards your belly. Lift it out to the sides. Take a little circle. Bring it back down. And then keep going that way. Try not to move the pelvis, so your hips are still pretty lined up with the floor. Notice that that right side of the pelvis wants to hike. Let's take the other direction a few times. Literally imagine your leg bone is like just what it is. It's your leg bone in the little, in the big hip socket, the biggest joint in your body. So feel like it's just scrubbing that out like a mortar and pestle almost. Bring that right knee down. And we'll hover the left knee, bring the left thigh towards the ribs, take it out to the side, around, like it's pointing to the back of the mat, and it kind of hovers next to the right knee, goes up, out, around. Again, really pressing your forearms, feel the humeral head centering is helping you get some freedom for that femoral head. Take it the other way. So you're really using that left glute to move this thing around. Again, I just find on the forearms, people are a little bit more restricted in their pelvis, which is actually helpful if you're trying to mobilize your hip. All right, we'll bring our left knee down. So your forearms are pretty connected to the floor. Feel free to tie the fingers together for more support if you want that. We'll tuck the toes, push into the forearms, spread the shoulder blades, lift the knees. They can hover or you can hoist the pelvis a little bit higher up towards the ceiling. Pull your ribs in. Right foot will stay down. The left leg will lift. Bend the left knee. We just did this hip, so just 2 times. Circle that left hip around, down, back. It doesn't matter which way you start. We'll just do 2 in each direction and then switch it. Up, around, and back.
up, around, and back. Left foot comes down, right leg lifts, bend the right knee, and circle the head. Just 2 times each direction. So you choose, keep that core on, switch the direction. You want to pull those ribs into the low back. Bring the right foot down, pressing your hands, lift your forearms up, downward facing dog. Feel free to bend the knees a little bit, walk the toes in a little bit closer. You want to feel the elbows are straightening. Still feel the right hand dialing out to the right, the left hand dialing out to the left. And pull your chest forward. Feel like 60% weight in the hands, 40% weight in those feet. Get that humeral head centered in the shoulder socket. If you're collapsing your chest back to your legs, you'll feel that compression. It's totally not centered anymore. So wrap those elbows in, feel the core lift, hoist that pelvis up, and then just 5 times here, bend your elbows just a couple of inches, wrap the elbows in like you're coming back to dolphin, but then you don't, you press back with the hands, you straighten your elbows. Bend your elbows, wrap them in like you're coming back to dolphin, and then straighten the elbows by pressing into the hands. Chest lifted, bend the elbows like you're coming back to dolphin, press the hands, straighten them, 2 more, bend the elbows, it can just be an inch, but keep those elbows wrapped in and pressing the hands and straighten them, 1 more. Pressing the hands, straighten them, step it forward, the top of the mat, roll your shoulders a couple of times there. Good job, everybody. Maybe you can grab just a sip of water before we hit our down dog dolphin on the wall. Come on up to some spot on the wall or the couch. So, always great because every Saturday we always hit this down dog dolphin on the wall. So essentially, we're training our body just to get more used to being inverted and also to strengthen all the musculature around the torso and the upper core in order to support ourselves in an inversion in a safe and sustainable way. So you want to bring your feet to some kind of surface. This way your legs are going to measure out like what that distance is when you flip it around and walk your legs up. So we're essentially trying to stack our hips over our shoulders. You can see right now your shoulders are stacked over the hips. Theoretically, it'll be about the same when you go upside down. So take your hands, measure out that measurement of your legs, and then keep your hands in the same place, but flip it around. Now, if you want to go with dolphin on the wall and practice more forearm stand, I'm going to recommend bring your forearms down and kind of replace where your palms just were, just about with your elbows. Again, you know, no exact measurement. We're going to bring those hands or forearms onto the ground. Tuck your toes, bring your heels against the surface. So if it's couch, it's couch. If it's the wall, it's the wall. Press into the palms again. Feel the left hand wanting to dial out, the right hand wanting to dial out. Wrap your elbows in, relax your neck, pull the core into the low back, and step 1 foot at a time up that wall. Keep the glutes on. Your knees might not totally straighten like mine here. Get a little bit more. Just breathe. Feel the feedback with the hands on the floor. Take it to a really shaky place. That felt good. It's been a little while since I've been able to get upside down for a while. And again, every day is a little bit different with your down dog on the wall. You want to kind of negotiate with it. Some things that'll never change. You want to try and relax that neck while you're doing this drill. You keep that core engaged. So I like to really notice when my ribs popping out, I pull them in a little bit. See if you can, instead of, you know, normally we're like root the tailbone. So instead, I guess you're directing the tailbone upward towards the ceiling, but it's still that rooting feeling. And again, relax your neck so that you can activate more of that core and also kind of help you and encourage you not to use as much neck when you're coming into a handstand. It's like, yes, we want to look where we're going, but we don't want all those little muscles of the neck doing most of the lifting. And I think a lot of us can train it that way. So notice if that's what's happening with you. We'll come to the top of the mat. You've gone through all your developmental steps. So now it's just time to get moving. Come on up to the top. Bring your arms by your side. Leave a little bit of space for your fingertips and your hands to hit the ground. So in the same way that by standing with a forward fold, we're really helping to connect into the floor and let our femoral head interact with the pelvis and transmit all this energy through the body. In that same way, I want you to practice whichever one it is. Doesn't matter as much, a little bit, but
You bring the fingertips down or the palms, and we're going to get our humeral head connecting and centering into the floor. Those of you actually at the class here, I know you know that, but this is for all you too, just watching the recording and stuff like that. So bring your hands by your side. You're in your mountain pose. Then you get a little root of that tailbone, a little engagement of the core. Glutes are on. This is really the basis of all the poses we're going to find today. Core is on, finding relatively like starting line of the pelvis so that we can move it in the directions that we want to move it. And the arms, getting that centering of the shoulders. That might be the toughest one for a lot of us. The shoulder wants to droop, that head wants to fall forward. We're going to try to really be mindful of that today so that we can, again, center our head. Femoral head, femoral head. Inhale, reach the arms forward and up. Exhale, into the head's hands come down. Right foot steps back. Right knee comes down, top of the foot comes down. Inhale, reach your arms forward and up. Feel like your femoral head is just sitting centered by wrapping that right glute and feeling that lift and strength. Hands come down, right foot tucks, step back, find pose, lower the knees, lower all the way to the floor. Head of the arm bones stay lifted, keep the humeral head centered. Pull back your hands for cobra, your belly lifts into the low back, tuck the toes, lift, downward facing dog. Let the feet walk in just a little bit. You can bend the knees some for that. Again, weight is like 60 in the hands, 40 in the feet. Right foot steps back, left knee comes down, top of the foot comes down, inhale, arms reach forward and up. Keep the low ribs in. Again, squeeze that left glute. Feel that leg bone very top. Femoral head sitting centered in that shoulder socket. So if I was really far forward, it would not be centered, holding it steady. Hands come down or fingertips come down in front of your right foot. Step the left foot to meet the right. Exhale, top of the mat. Inhale, press into your feet. Stand up tall. Arms reach forward and up. Exhale, into the hips. Hands come down. Left foot steps back. Left knee comes down. Top of the foot comes down. Arms reach forward and up. Glutes are on. Core is strong. Hands come down. Press into the palms. Step the right foot back. Lower the knees. Keep the head of the arm bones lifted here. Lower everything to the floor except the head of the arm bones. Pull back your hands for cobra. Lift the belly into the back. Toes tuck. Press back. Downward facing dog. Don't be afraid to walk those feet in if it feels better. Left foot steps forward. Right knee comes down. Top of the foot comes down. Arms reach forward and up. Use the strength of the glutes to help to almost lift your ribs away from the pelvis. Hands come down. Load the palms or fingertips. Step to the top of the mat. Exhale. Inhale. Arms reach forward and up. Exhale, into the hips. Right foot steps back. Right knee comes down. You keep the toes tucked. Bring the hands to the ribs. And so holding at the ribs here, we're going to feel this rotation again. Femoral head centered, shoulders are pulling back, trying to hold those arm bones in their place. Take an inhale here, and a little exhale, rotate to the left. And just do this 3 times. Come through center, little rotation to the left. Come through center, little rotation to the left. Come through center, hands come down, step back, plank pose. Lower the knees, glutes are on here as you lower all the way to the floor, head of the arm bones stay lifted. Pull back your hands for cobra, neck is long, so tuck that chin in. Toes tuck, lift up and back, down dog, right foot steps, left knee comes down, you keep the toes tucked. Once again, hands come to the lower half of the ribs. So we're kind of corseting that in, noticing if they're popping on us. The toes are tucked, if it feels good. Press that left big toenail really down into the ground. Activate that left glute. And then inhaling in the center, take a little exhale and rotate to the right. Maybe even notice if one side's not as much rotation as the other. Come back through center, exhale, rotate to the right. So when we twist, we're going to keep this spine long and the core engaged. Come back through center, hands come down, load the palms of the fingertips, step the left foot to meet the right. Press into the feet, inhale, arms reach forward and up. Exhale, hinge at the hips, hands come down, left foot steps back, left knee comes down, toes are tucked, hands come to each side of the pelvis now. Take an inhale. Exhale, we're twisting the same way we just did. Twist to the right, and come back through center. So now notice your ribs were moving and the hands were moving, but now the hands are staying in place and just the ribs are moving. So notice that those hands are going to hold it steady. Come back through center, hands land. Step the right foot back to meet the left. Exhale, lower the knees, lower all the way to the floor. Head of the arm bones stay lifted. Pull back your hands for cobra. Lift,
Downward facing dog. Left foot steps forward. Right knee comes down. Toes can stay tucked. Hands come to each side of the pelvis. So in this rotation, we're going to practice keeping the pelvis steady and moving and rotating from the ribs in the thoracic spine. Inhale, little exhale to rotate to the left. And back through center. Exhale, little rotation to the left. Notice those hands aren't changing much anymore. Bring it back through center. Exhale, rotation. Whereas before, they were going along for the ride with those ribs. Back through center. Hands come down. Give a little space so that when they land, you step the right foot to meet the left. You have your shoulders over the palms or the fingertips. Taking a little weight, centering, and giving some feedback to that humeral head. Press the feet. Inhale, arms reach forward now. Exhale, hinge the hips. So start off the same way. Right foot steps back. Right knee comes down. Toes are tucked. Inhale, reach the arms forward and up. And then bring the hands down in front of your heart. And bring them both into fists and just kind of interdigitate your knuckles here. So the right here into the center. Inhale, squeeze that right glute. Exhale, engage the belly and twist to the left. So a little back through center and a little twist to the left. And then back through center, twisting to the left. Really press these knuckles into each other, and that should give you some nice feedback into both of those humeral heads, getting those shoulders plugged down onto the back ribs. Nice job, everybody. Let's get two more. Little rotation at the ribs. Your tailbone stays rooting towards the floor. Stay twisted to the left. Bring the palms in a little prayer position. Bring the right elbow directly on top of the left thigh, not past it, directly on top of it. Look in front of the left big toe. Press into the right big toe and lift your right knee off of the floor. Squeeze the right glute to really help lift that right side of the hip off of the floor. Now, if you find you're really rounding, feel free to lift the elbow off of the thigh. Give yourself more space in the back. You decide there, but everything's squeezing, belly's lifted, core is on, we're rotating from the ribs. And again, main priority in the twist, keep the spine long, balanced, core engaged. Now unwind from your twist to the right, parallel the feet, side lunge to the right. Sit back in the right hip. The left leg gets long, come back through center, side lunge to the left, sit back in the left hip. The right leg gets long. Do this a few more times, each direction. I'm going to turn to the side here. So what we're doing with these side lunges is we're practicing moving the femoral bone and the head there back into the hip socket. So if your knees go forward, then you know you sent your leg bone, your femur essentially, in the wrong direction. You want to send it back into the hip. More space there. It's a bigger joint, more muscles there. Keep the load. Let that knee be what it is, that stabilizer joint, and let the hip be the mover joint. One more time to the left, and as you come to the right, we're going to turn all the way to the back of the mat. Land the left knee down, the left hand is down. So before you send your right leg back, we're going to modified side plank. Look at your left hand, feel your left palm pressing the ground, feel like the left hand is going to dial out to the left, it's going to plug that left shoulder blade onto the back ribs. Bring the right leg back and long, so it's in this modified side plank. It's going towards the original top of the mat. Feel free to kickstand your left foot out a little bit if it helps with the balance. Really plug that left hand onto the ground. And then we're going to start to lift and lower the right leg. So this is called a glute pulse. It's your glute medius here. I like my right hand on top of that right hip so I can feel this big, like, it's like a hose when you turn it on with the water. This thing just really tightens up. You can feel the power of it. It's compared to your glute back there, it's a pretty like long and skinny muscle. So feel that firepower of that hose, and then lifting it up. This is kind of complicated. You're going to lower the right foot, bend the right knee, externally rotate the right thigh, and then rise up. So you're just in this little gate pose here. Now the right knee is bent, the right toes are facing the original front of the mat. We're all kind of facing the left side of the mat. Right forearm to right thigh. Left arm sweeps over the left ear, opening up the side body just a little bit here. Yeah, release the right ear to the right shoulder. Root your left glute towards your left heel. Let that thing be like a bicycle kickstand here, holding you up. One more breath. Core stays on. And then bring your hands all the way to the front of the mat. Step your left foot to meet the right or forward folded again at the top. Inhale, arms reach forward and up.
Exhale, hinge at the hips. Left foot steps back. Left knee comes down. Inhale, reach the arms forward and up. Bring the hands down into your knuckles and interdigitate those knuckles right in front of the sternum bone here. Take an inhale, exhale, a little twist to the right, and back through center. So as we're twisting, we're pushing our fists together. That's helping to activate into those shoulder blades. Feel a little bit more scapula, which we're going to need when we go back to the back of the mat and feel ourselves in that modified side plank. Last time, twist to the right. Bring your hands into prayer position. So it's just palms touching now. Left elbow directly on top of the right thigh here. We're pressing into the left big toe and looking right in front of that right big toe to help keep that gaze and that balance forward. Now, if you find you really got to round and turn your core off just a touch here, go ahead, lift that left elbow up. A lot of times I really am much more comfortable with the elbow lifted and a lot longer. But I did get to run through this right before I'm teaching it, so feeling a little bit more open in some of these places. Take one more breath. And then we're going to unleash that left elbow and turn to the left. Side lunges. So again, sit back into the left hip. And then come through center, sit back into the right hip. We get this nice stretch of the groin muscles. It's just a nickname for the collection of adductors and some of your hamstrings that you have. By sitting back into the hip, and allowing for that strength there to hold us steady in this dynamic stretch. Let's get one more to the right, one more to the left, and walk the hands to the back of the mat. Right knee comes down. Before we go to that modified side plank, plug your right palm into the ground. Spread your fingers, grab the floor with your fingers. Really plug the metacarpals right where those fingers plug into the palm, into the ground. You're going to send the left leg back and feel like you could dial that right arm out. Going to plug that shoulder blade onto the back ribs and then pulse the left leg. So if you're a little bit lower, great place to be. You might be trying to come up to hip height. If you're really, really bored with it, then come up to hip height and go a little bit higher. And that should really get your glute medius firing up. Again, it's kind of like a big hose-like muscle where when you fire it up, I mean, that thing like tenses up. It's like, whoa, where have you been? Buddy boy, sleeping. All right, everybody, 3, 2, keep grabbing the floor with that right hand, feeling that shoulder blade squeeze onto the back ribs, and then the left foot down. We're gonna bring the chest up at the same time. Externally rotate the left thigh, point the left foot back towards the front of the mat. You can adjust your right foot so it's directly behind the right knee. Left forearm is on the left thigh, and reach the right arm over the right ear. Yeah, really good job at that. So it's a pretty complicated move, especially for the very beginning of class. Squeezing the glute down, rooting the tailbone, core is on. Really try to point your right butt cheek down towards your right heel. Woo. And then take the hands back to the top of the mat, turn that right thigh in, sorry about that, and then step your right foot to meet the left. Inhale, arms reach forward and up. Exhale, into the hips, hands come down. Let's all get the palms on the ground. Bend your knees as much as you have to. Step your right foot back, left foot back. Strong in that core. Lower the knees or lower all the way to the floor. Pull back your hands for cobra or reach back in locust so the legs can squeeze together. You still want to lift your belly into your low back and point your tailbone to your heels. Hands come under the shoulders, lift, downward facing dog. Walk the feet in, spread the toes. Your choice here. Breathe in down dog. Again, let your hands take some weight into them. Wrap the elbows in. Feel that humeral head centered. The femoral head stays centered by hoisting that pelvis up towards the ceiling. Bend and straighten the knees. You can just breathe there too. You can try coiling and springing or taking a little hop to the top. Maybe a few steps to the top. Pressing your feet at the top of the mat. Inhale, arms reach forward and up. Exhale, into the hips. Hands come down, step or hop back. Before you lower, humeral head. Centered. Get those shoulder blades on the back ribs. Feel the left hand dialing out to the left, the right hand dialing out to the right. Lower the knees or not. Cobra or locust. Reach the arms back. Feel the belly is zipping up into the low back. Hands come down. Press. Downward. Facing dog. You can breathe here with the weight. 60 hands, 40 feet. Toes can come together. The big toes. You can walk them much closer towards your palms. You decide. Breathe. Coil and spring. Push through the big toe mounds. Take a little weight, shift, come to the top, a little hop or a step. Inhale, arms reach forward and up. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Step or hop back, find pose, lower, knees or not. You can always skip it and come right to down dog. Cobra locust. Exhale, down dog. Bend and straighten. Little hop and float. Some days are better than others, right? Inhale, arms reach forward and up. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Hands come down. Step or hop back. Find pose. Lower, knees or not. You can skip it. Come to down dog. Cobra locust. Lift. Downward facing dog. Walk those feet in. Take a big breath in. We're going to walk our hands towards the back of the mat. Bring your butt over your heels as a happy squat. So we're going to keep our butt high. You can come up onto the fingertips. Walk those fingertips forward. Get some length in your back. Press into your feet. Squeeze your butt muscles. Spread your toes. Really let yourself press through the whole matrix of the foot. Don't be afraid to walk those fingers forward. And then feel like your fingers are trying to pull your chest forward, but it's not really going to move much because you have all that weight into the feet. Keep pressing those feet. I know it's rough. Big breath here. One more big breath into your back. And then we'll walk our hands forward again. And we're going to do this little baby bear walk. So you're just going to walk in your down dog, forward and back a few times. Now, one thing I want you to try and pay attention to is, are you only able to really move right side with right side and left side with left side? So again, if you can kind of challenge some cross neural firing, moving your right arm, your left foot, and your left hand with your right leg. And so this is really a great way to practice weight bearing in your hands. If handstand and forearm stand seem like never going to happen, well, maybe start doing this every day with a centered humeral head and see if you don't start to get a little bit more confident in your position of the shoulders, your strength. All right, everybody, come back to your down dog. We're going to walk, just in down dog. Take a big breath in here. Just kind of see where my madness had us headed. Walk the feet forward. Yeah, stand up tall. Inhale, arm feet forward. That. Keep the left foot on the ground. Bring the right knee up in front in line with the hip. And then the hands come to the side of the pelvis. So we're in a single leg balance here, holding steady, spreading the toes of the left foot. Right foot steps out to the side for a little side step squat. And then pressing the left foot, drive the right knee up. Step it out to the side. Just like a foot off of the mat. I'll turn to face you. Ali will keep showing that side view. So it's just a regular squat. You're maybe a little bit wider than a normal squat. And you're still working the same idea of moving your femur bones back in space. Loading that left leg with the squeeze of the left glute. Really good job. Last three, you might even touch your left fingertips down. Reach your left fingertips up. Touch them down. Reach them up. Touch them down, reach them up, hold here. Right knee is up. Left hand is going to come to the left hip. Bend your left knee and kick your right leg back. Bent knee, airplane. Spread the toes out the left foot. Really strong here. Good job. Keep a little bend into the left knee. We're just doing 3 of these. Just like we've been doing with the right and left hand. Look at the left foot. Spread the toes of the left foot. Keep that left big toe mound plugged into the ground. Dial the left foot out to lift the right side of the pelvis, maybe just a couple inches over the left side. So you're sort of transitioning a little half moon. And then realign right side with left, bent knee, airplane. But you really got to keep your glutes working here. Pressing the left foot, dial the left foot out. Your left foot doesn't move, look at that. It's your pelvis. But it's still neutral, still reading the tailbone. One more time, realign. Last time, dial the left foot out, open the right side of the pelvis, center that femoral head, lower the right foot down, warrior 2. Arms reach out, take an inhale here. Stay for the exhale. One more time, inhale. Reverse warrior, reach the left arm up. The right arm can reach down the right leg, or you can bring it in front of the torso to help the core stay on and really get that breath all the way out. Then come back through center, warrior two, left forearm to left thigh, right arm can sweep over the right ear. Bring the right hand down inside the left foot, setting up for twisted crescent here. Fingertips can be down, the right palm can be down. If you have a yoga block, that's a good thing there too. Left hand comes to the back of your hips, your sacrum. Push into your right big toe, lift the right knee really high away from the floor so those hips are still level. We're gonna twist to the left by leaning into the right hand, dialing the right hand out, just like we just did in half moon with that left foot. Feel the scapula pull onto the back ribs. Release the right ear if you can. Oh, breathe through the lips. Right glute stays working. You might need to wake it up. Load the right leg. Side plank or modified side plank. So the right knee can come down, or we can stack left ankle on top of the right ankle. You can keep your left hand at that sacrum and just kind of continue to root the tailbone. Feel really strong and long. You can also bring the left hand to the glenohumeral joint. Make sure your humerus is holding steady. Not humerus to not hold that steady. All right, bring your left hand down and then lift downward facing dog. Let's walk our hands back into happy squat again. Bring the butt over top of the heels, push into your feet, spread your toes, bring your ribs onto your thighs, lift your belly, and then push into your feet and squeeze your butt. Try to lift your pelvis, hoist it up towards the ceiling. You walk the fingertips forward, grab those fingers, and pull with the arms. You release your jaw a little wiggle from side to side. Let's move it into our little baby bear walk. So again, kind of come to down dog, and then you just start to walk opposite hand and opposite leg, back and forth a few times. This is actually kind of nice, right, compared to a lot of the other things that we're usually putting the demand on the body. Just a little stroll here. And again, this is a great way to practice handstands and practice weight bearing in your arms. Even if in general, push-ups are tough for you and different upper body movements like that, pull-ups, this kind of move can help with all that stuff. Really make it up. All right. So we'll come back up to the top of the mat. Just stand up tall. We'll bring the right leg, it's on the ground, and the left knee is in front of the left hip. Hands can come to the sides of the pelvis. Step the left leg off to the side, sit into your side step squat, pressing that right foot, load the left knee. Side step squat, pressing the right foot, load it. So again, I'll face towards you, just showing this action. Yeah, it looks great there. You're gonna press into the right foot, bring the left knee up. And you're just stepping a foot, maybe 6 inches off of your mat, working on moving the femur bones back. And we're also cross neural firing. So again, we're sending 2 different messages, not only to 2 different sides of the body, but also to the same joint. So it's we come to our side step squat, double flexion. Then we press, the left knee still flexes, but now the right hip is in extension. 3 more, you can tap the right fingertips down, reach them up, tap them down, reach them up, tap it down, pressing the right foot, reach it up. Hold here, bring the right hand to the right hip. Bend the right knee as you kick the left leg back into your bent knee airplane. The bend in your right knee is really going to help to secure you here. Look at your right foot, spread the toes of the right foot, just like we did a moment ago. Dial the right foot out, lift the left side of the pelvis on top of the right side. Really plug your right big toe mound down. Then bring that left hip, realign with the right hip and bent knee, airplane, parallel. Pressing the right foot, your pelvis is still neutral. You're just giving it a little rotation over that right femur bone. Core is on. Bring yourself back to alignment. Reset. Pressing the right foot. Dial the right foot out. It shouldn't actually move on you. You're creating the torque. Lift the pelvis with strength and security and a neutrality to it. So it's not an awkward pull on the sacrum. Bring the left foot down. Warrior two. Arms reach out. Just gather a breath here. Full inhale and exhale. Take another inhale. Then you're flipping the right hand, reaching it up on the exhale. So the exhale can actually help you create a lot of space in the body and the side body by really pulling in through that belly. Come back through center, right forearm to right thigh, exhale again, left arm sweeps over the left ear, root the left glute towards the left heel. Then don't let your left glute turn off here, but really fire it up. As you bring your left hand down and turn all your toes to face towards the front of the mat, left hand comes down for twisted crescent, right hand comes onto the back of the hips. The left palm is connected to the ground. You can also be fingertips or palm on a block. You're leaning into that left shoulder blade and rotating the ribs an inch or two to the right. You want to feel that security from that left shoulder plugging onto the back ribs. It's borderline like a back bend. You're leaning into that shoulder blade so much. And you can let your left ear just kind of fall as much as it's capable of towards that left shoulder. Side plank or modified side plank. Left hand is strong on the ground, right ankle is directly on top of that left ankle. You can keep your right hand behind the hips, just kind of making sure you stay nice and level here. So I notice like a lot of things people tend to do is they kick their butt up to balance. So if you push that forward, you can't do it. Or you can bring your right hand onto the glenohumeral joint of the left arm. And just make sure that's sitting steady. That's another one. People will often have their hand a little too far forward. Let's give it some space. Right hand comes down. From here, lower the knees. Lower all the way to the ground. Head of the arm bones stay lifted. Let's just get a wide cobra here. So go a little bit wider than your mat. Bring your fingertips onto the ground. Put your elbows up. You can keep your head down this whole time. So forehead stays down. Lift the belly. Root the tailbone. Inhale. Pull the hand back. And just do this like 3 times with a few breaths. Pulling the shoulders back. Keep the fingertips connected into the floor. Bring the arms back in. Press into the hands. Lift yourself up. Downward facing dog. Bend and straighten. You can push into the toes. Try a little hop. Try a couple pikes. Whatever you want. A little breath. You can land it in your child's pose for a moment. You decide what you're feeling ready for. We'll all come to the top of the mat. We'll have a moment where we regather ourselves. Whew. So, grab a little water, wipe off some sweat. Just demonstrating there how when you get up, you don't want to come down. And I know I say it all the time. People don't always believe it. It's so, so true. A handstand is so much easier to hold than a down dog on the wall or a dolphin or practically anything that we do to warm it up. So I do promise you, like all that really tough stuff, it is really leading towards ease and comfort and stability in something that looks really challenging, when in reality, again, we kind of talked about this yesterday, it's relatively simple in nature. You're just taking your whole stacking that your body is designed for and you're reversing it. And your body's pretty good at holding that too. You're just not strong in your arms, strong in your legs, and you're not as used to it. It's not like, you know, doing a golf swing. It's a pretty complicated movement. I'd argue much more complicated than a handstand, but you know, as you know, and maybe you never figure out how to do a golf swing, certainly swinging a golf club now, even if you did it with perfect form, you know, as hard as you could, probably oftentimes not as difficult as holding a handstand. So big difference between simple and complex, challenging and less challenging. Challenging in different ways, for sure. Grab a little bit of water and we'll tie it all together here. So I'll have a few new moves. We'll take ourselves to the back of the mat again, but you know, it'll just be the same way that we did it before. Now come on up to the top. Now let's finish this thing on up. It's looking awesome so far. Inhale, reach the arms forward up. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Hands come down. And this will start off the same way. Right foot slips back, right knee comes down, toes are tucked. Right away, bring those hands into knuckles, interdigitate them. So we just got, that just means your fingers or your knuckles are locking in together. Press them together, get those shoulder blades on. Feel the right glute is lifting the right knee. It's not actually lifting, but it's lifting the pressure away from the floor. Then take an exhale, twist the left, come back through center. We'll twist the left, back through center, twist the left, hold it, bring the palms together, right elbow on top of left thigh, pressing that right big toe, twisted crescent. Look at that left foot, either stay here or lean into the left leg and lift the right leg. Revolve half moon with a prayer hand. You can always lift your right elbow away from the left thigh. Again, you're rotating the ribs, but you're really feeling length in the spine, strengthen the core, support. It's almost like a panini thing is happening between your stomach and the low back. Lower the right foot down, turn to the side, side lunges. We can throw a twist in here. Sit back into the right hip, left hand can come down, right arm can come up. Sit back into the left hip, right hand can come down, left arm can come up. You can always stick with classic side lunges too. So it's your choice to throw a little rotation in there. And again, feel that femur bone moving back in space, still keep that humerus centered. So also notice if you kind of spill your humerus forward on a twist, hug that shoulder blade onto the back ribs. Turn to the back of the mat, left knee land. Modified side plank. Left hand is down, feel like it's going to dial out, right leg goes back. Right leg is lifted. Bend the right knee, and then pulse here by kicking your right heel back. So you're kind of like, if you're extending your hip, just like we did before. So it's like your the sole of your foot is trying to kick towards me. Yeah, like you're like, get away from me, kick. Yeah, there you go. I know this is a tough one. This is a weird one. We never do this. That's why I'm making you do this. Then hold this, grab the right shin, ankle, foot. If you can't grab anything, it doesn't feel good, let the right leg go long and maybe reach the right arm over the right ear. So open up that right hip flexor by squeezing the right glute, trying to push the right glute through the right hip and holding your belly strong. So pull your belly button into your low back. Don't let your gut spill out, but instead you should feel an uncorking at the front of your hip flexor here. Release the right foot, land the right legs down, externally rotate the right thigh, bend the right knee and rise up. So shoulders are over the hips, right knees pointing forward, right toes pointing forward, right forearm to right thigh, left arm sweeps over. Just catch 2 quick breaths here. Left arm really reaching, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Hands sweep all the way down, downward facing dog. Right foot steps back to meet the left. Walk the hands back towards the feet, coming back to that happy squat. When your butt gets over your heels this time, grab opposite elbows with your palms. Keep your ribs and your thighs connected. So this will actually feel really good, but we got to keep our core on and lifting into our low back. Grab opposite elbow, release your neck. So everything's working here, but your butt is still squeezing and your core is still on, and breathe with it. Shoulders and neck can relax though. We're supporting them again with a lifted belly into the low back. Now I saved the best move for almost the end. You're going to release the hand, walk it back into downward facing dog. So it's a good little release, I know, but now let's stabilize it. Check in, pressing those hands, pressing the feet. Weight's about 60% in the hands, 40% in the legs. The right foot stays down, the left leg lifts. Big inhale here. We're going to scoot the right foot forward by pulling the hands. So bend the right knee, just take a little hop, standing L, pushing the hands, slide that right foot back. Pull with the hands, slide the right foot forward, push with the hands, slide it back. 3 more times. Forward, back, forward, back, forward, back, forward, rise up, single leg, balance. Ho! Left knee comes up. Step the left foot out to the side. We're just doing 5 of these. Side step squat, load the right leg, maybe a little hop. Side step squat, load the right leg, maybe a little hop. You don't have to hop. You could also just lift it. Side step squat, maybe hop. Side step squat, if you're hopping, this is your last one. Load the right leg, hurdle, hold it. Right leg is down, left leg is there. Bend the right knee, send it back into your bent knee, airplane. This is 1 time we're doing this. Right foot's on the ground. Look at the right foot. Dial the right foot out. It won't actually move. Lift the left side of the pelvis on top of the right side of the pelvis. The right forearm can connect to the right thigh. Give yourself a little support. You can go more classic half moon with the arms reaching, whatever you like. I really like a left hand on top of my left side of the pelvis to keep my left butt cheek working here and driving from that left heel. And I like a right hand on my right forearm, give me security and to help my core stay on and give you feedback into that right femur, the head of the femur bone, which is really kind of steering wheeling this whole thing. Left foot comes down, warrior two. Let's all just gather our breath here. One time here, one more breath. Flip the front palm, exhale, reverse. Come back through center. Right forearm to right thigh, left arm sweeps over. Left hand comes down, twisted crescent. Left arm down, right hand can check in with the hips. Rotate the ribs open, you can reach the right arm up. I'll also give you this variation. Maybe step the right foot back about a foot, and then turn the right foot out, come onto the outside edge of the left pinky toe. So both your toes are facing towards the right side of the mat, and you're getting a little bit of an external rotation in the right thigh, helping to uncork that outer right hip a bit. You can sweep the right arm over the right ear. That's really nice, and then lift your left hip away from the floor. Woo! All right. Now, wherever the right hand is, bring it on top of the right hip and step your right ankle on top of your left ankle. Side plank here, hold. You can bring the left knee down for modification, or you can lift the right leg, bend the right knee, externally rotate the right hip. It's kind of like a tree pose, but you're going to bring your right toes down behind your left leg and lean more into your left shoulder blade here. Dancers plank. So it looks like a dancer, right? And then bring the right hand around. Right foot steps back next to the left. Step the right foot up towards the hands. Turn to the left. We're in this straddle here. So spine is long. I'm going to show this from the side. Bring the back tops of your hands down onto the ground. So your palms are facing up. Your fingers are facing in towards you. Bend your knees as much as you'd like, but then also bend the elbows and try and pull your hands apart. You should have this nice sticky mat under you. Relax your neck. Your belly stays on. Still lifting. Breathe into the back fascia, the back line. Keep pulling your hands apart. And then release the hands, walk the hands around to the front. Left knee comes down. 90-90 knee bend. Right away, interdigitate those knuckles in front of the heart. Tuck the left toes. We're back at the top. So we're facing the top of the mat. Right foot is forward. Left knee is down. Knuckles are coming together in front of the heart. Take a little exhale. Twist the right. Back through center. We'll exhale. Twist the right. And back through center. One more time. Exhale. Twist the right. Palms together. Left elbow on top of the right thigh. Don't go past it. Right on top. Pushing that left big toe. And feel that twisted crescent loading the right leg. Feel free to stay here or load the right leg, spread the right toes. Use the power of the left glute to lift that left leg up. Really got to keep that weight pretty equal in the right foot. Just like you saw me do just now, lift your left elbow. If it feels like you're really not engaging your core and instead you're rounding your back, A-okay. And maybe even argue there's aspects of lifting your elbow that's more challenging, you know, but just might be more accessible due to your range of motion. Lower the left foot down, turn to the left, side lunges, sit back into the left hip, come through center, sit back into the right hip. Maybe make it a twist, fingertips or palms can come down. And so as you're sitting back into the hip, you're also rotating in the chest. One more time to the right, one more time to the left. Walk your hands around, right knee comes down, right palm comes down. Left leg goes back, modified side plank. Right thigh, right shin is either directly underneath you or it can kick out just a little bit here. Bend the left knee, flex the left ankle, and it's like a donkey kick, you know? You're just kind of extending that left leg back. So feel a little hip extension, glute firing. The bend of the knee should help to purposely lengthen your hamstring so that it isn't able to help out as much with this. So you feel more glute. And then from here, you can either grab shin, ankle, foot, get a little quad stretch. Again, keep the left glute on. Feel like it's trying to push through the left hip and hold the belly strong. You can also release the left foot and reach the left arm over the left ear, getting some more length into it. But everything holds steady here. Then we'll all release the left foot. Bring the left foot down, bring the torso up. Turn the left leg out. Point the left toes towards the front of the mat. The right foot's behind the right knee. Left forearm on left thigh, right arm sweeps over the right ear. So it's like a little gate posture, side opener here. You can release the left ear a little to the left shoulder. One more breath. Hands come down. Down dog. So you'll turn to face the front and step that left foot back to meet the right. In your down dog, walk the hands back. You're getting your little happy squat here. So butt is high, feet press into the floor. Spread the toes, grab opposite elbows, release the neck. Inhale. Exhale. Still keep your core on. Remember, we're not letting that go till Shavasana. You can release the jaw, you can release your neck. Then let's start to engage those shoulders again. Release the hand, walk it back. Just into your downward facing dog. Set this up with some strength. Let the knees bend as much as you'd like. Weight is like 60 in the hands, 40 in the feet. Left foot is down, right leg lifts. So we're gonna look at the hands, we're gonna pull the hands and then slide this left foot up by pulling that thigh into the belly, push into the hand and slide that left foot back, three-legged down dog. Pull with the hands, slide it forward, push with the hands, slide it back. We'll pull forward, a little push back. Pull forward, push back, pull forward, push back. Look at that, we're done. Pull forward, load the left leg, bring the right knee up. Vertical, not with the whole flow, just with that low move. Step the right foot out to the side, side step squat. Either just load the left leg or give it a little hop. Side step squat, little hop. You do a little touchdown, reach up. I find that always helps with the hop. And if you're hopping, no hop this time, just load the left leg. Left leg is loaded, bend the left knee a little bit here. You send that right leg back. Drive the right heel back. Femoral head, centered in the acetabulum of the pelvis. Spread the toes of the left foot. Don't let that left big toe mound lift. Oh, as I say it, dial your left foot out. Stack the right side of that pelvis on top of the left. So, like I said before, left forearm can come onto the left thigh. It's a great way to connect into your core and keep that centering of the femur head. You could bring your right hand kind of where the femoral head on the right side is. Make sure that right glute's still working. You do like Allie's doing, reach the fingers down. Whatever's feeling good here. Just steady, lower the right foot, warrior toe. Arms reach out, gather a breath here. Stay for the inhale. With the exhale, reverse and reach up. Inhale just to come through center, forearm to thigh, sweep the right arm over the right ear. Right hand comes down about a foot, foot and a half inside that left foot. Right toes are pushing to the ground. Left hand can check in with that right butt cheek, lift it up. Left arm can come out, twisted crescent. Feel free to stay here, leaning into your right hand, rotating the ribs open to the left, or you can step your left foot back, just like a foot or so. Turn your left foot like 45 degrees over to the left, and then come onto the pinky edge side of the right foot. Press into your right hand, lean into your right hand, and then lift the right side of your hip away from the floor. Maybe reach your left arm over your left ear, and let your right ear fall over your right shoulder. It should feel pretty nice. But it's challenging, and to get into this pose, we've got to do a lot of setup. Bring the left ankle on top of the right ankle. Side plank, you can always lower your right knee down, or lift the left leg, bend the left knee, externally rotate the left hip. Like tree pose, land your left toe down on the ground, and then lean into your right shoulder blade. So you want to keep your core on, but you do allow yourself to tip onto that shoulder blade like it's like a shelf. Flip it around, the left hand lands, lower the knees, lower all the way to the floor, head of the arm bones stay lifted, hands come down, bend the knees, windshield wiper. And so you can slow your little windshield wiper down. We'll let the legs go long. Flip around onto your back, so you don't have to get up for this. Just flip around onto your back. Walk the feet in, and we'll start off across the right ankle, over the left thigh. You can stay like this. Feel the external rotation of the right thigh. Feel your sacrum, your hips still level. So you're taking your right femur bone, and you're externally rotating it, giving a little opening here. You can take your left femur bone and use the power of the hip flexor, not the hands, to lift your left leg off the floor. You can even relax your left shin in towards the hamstring and the thigh there, and just let it breathe. Now, you can stay here, or your next option is to drop your right foot over to the left so the sole of the right foot comes down. We're going to turn our torso around until we come onto our forearms. So this is just another way to help open up this hip. So keep the core engaged. Remember, until Shavasana, we're going to keep a little lift of the belly. If you really need a little bit extra here, then feel free to just kind of allow yourself to pull the forearms down, and you can kind of like walk it slightly over to the right. I'm adding a little more pull on this side. When you come back to the center, if you walk over to the side, bring the left arm under you to come back on your back, and just switch your legs. Left ankle crosses over the right thigh. You can stay here. This is a great place to stay. Just ignore all the other directives, except for this one. Externally rotate the left thigh, squeeze the right glute, so feel some engagement of the hips, of the core. Option now, so here you can ignore me from here on out. You can lift the right leg, so right hip flexor is now working to open up the left side of the hip there. Just keep a little engagement, but you can relax your right shin towards your hamstring. So that's one that tends to hold on. It's like, nah, that's okay. You can let that go. Notice right off the bat, one side is much tighter than the other. I can tell you where it is for me. Now you can stay here or drop the left foot off to the right. So like the sole of the left foot comes down, and then we keep following our torso around until we bring our forearms. Really good. Just breathing there. Or pull those arms back. Maybe walk your hands a little bit over to the left. And I just like this because I can feel, especially when I keep my core on, I can feel a nice pull at like the very I don't know where I'm looking for. Just at like the top of my pelvis, where it connects. The ridge, the spine. I don't know. Got the yoga brain, so that's not such a bad thing to do. One more breath. And then you're gonna thread your right arm through in order to come onto your back and pull the knees in real quick. A little rock from side to side. You can either just let the soles of the feet come down onto the ground and you hit your final Shavasana. You're also welcome to let the legs go long to your side. Arms come along, you can get a few breaths there. And in Shavasana, we're just gonna breathe, release. No need to hold on to anything. Just let your body tune in to those physical changes and to that change in energy.
So you're welcome to stay lost as long as you want today. You just pause for 4 days. Relax, take a big inhale through the nose. Make up the mouth. A little through the middle fingers and toes, and slowly reach the arms overhead. Another big breath there. Gather the legs in, time. Pull them in. Both legs wrapped in close. Do yourself a little rock side to side. Big breath. To whatever feels in a comfortable seated position. And then just arrive. Feel all this stuff gathered together. Feeling this connection into the center. And hopefully feeling a little bit more centered in your head. Certainly after that Shavasana, that will tune in, feel a little bit more clear about where we are. But I do hope that through all these little movements today, we found some pretty complex ones. Feeling more centered, that humeral head again, pull that chest up, give that a lead to the neck, more centered in that femoral head, give that a lead to the back, help keep that core engaged. So also you can take all this discipline and like cleaning up on the mat and enjoy all the space in the body that you just do that. So I honor the hard work, the discipline in you. I make all that happen. And the light in me honors us. The light that shines inside of you. That's what. Enjoy the